What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Multiverse Monologues, the podcast show where we like to travel across the multiverses and fandoms that we love to talk about the movies and television shows that accompany those universes. And today we will be traveling back to the Fox X-Men universe to talk about a reboot, a requel. It's been called many things. Is it going to be called good or bad? We are here to talk about that movie. We're here to talk about X-Men First Class, starring James McAvoy and a whole lot of other people. And I say we, and joining me as always, no surprises here, but certainly it is definitely a peak cast you've got right here. Mr. Ethan Wetzloff. Ethan, how are you?
I'm doing good. We all collectively watched this movie together within the hour. We just finished it, and I have to say, if I were to describe this movie in flight terms, I don't know if I'd call it first class, but let's dive into this movie.
Are you saying this one's Coach?
I don't know what I'm saying. I'm excited to talk.
The other voice you are hearing is Mr. Micah. Micah, how are you?
I'm doing groovy, baby. This, man, was this our second or third movie that we've seen together as a trio?
What, we watched Howard the Duck together.
Fantastic Four.
Third movie then.
So this would be...
Besides, like, the new ones, like, because we saw some in the theaters.
Right. This would be, of the Marvel movie marathon, this would be number 3, I think.
Wow.
I think.
Wow. Well, here we are, number 3.
We always
the
know
end of a trilogy.
We always know what movies to meet up for and collectively watch
They're
together.
the most random assortment of films.
The most peak movies.
You'd think, all right, we're getting together for Avengers. No, we're getting together for X-Men First Class.
Fantastic Four.
Oh, boy.
Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck. I mean, we had to start it off.
We did. We had to kick the football through the goalposts.
Now, this is movie number 24.
24.
We're nearly halfway to 50.
Going to 25 next
What's number
week.
50. Deadpool 2.
Deadpool 2.
Wow.
No, out of the 70 films that we have to review, 71
I've got 80 films
this
in
week,
here.
actually. So, yeah, we're going to see it. But what we'd love for you guys to do is to leave a like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, as well as follow on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Yeah, and leave a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And if you write a review, me and Ben will make sure to read those on our news shows. So yeah, go write us a review on Apple Podcasts if that's where you listen.
That would be very, very epic, and it would help us out a lot. With all of that out of the way, let's dive in to X-Men First Class. Let's open our sling rings and head over to the Fox X-Men universe.
I always believed I couldn't be the only person who was different. Charles Xavier.
We're the next stage of human evolution.
There's others out there. We can help them.
Mankind, they're going to turn on us.
They need us.
You ready for this? Let's find out.
Is this movie perfect?
Yes.
No.
Maybe.
It could be.
Perfectly mid?
That's what we're here to find out. That's what we're here to find out. But what I would like to find out is, well, you know what? First, I would like Mr. Wetzloff to remind the audience about this movie, because for many people, they haven't seen it or haven't seen it in a long time.
Yeah, so I'm going to read the IMDb synopsis, and then I want you to bounce off that and add any additional information that the listener might need to know. So, okay. In the 1960s, superpowered humans Charles Xavier and Eric work together to find others like them. But Eric's vengeful pursuit of an ambitious mutant who ruined his life causes a schism to divide them.
A schism to divide them at the very end of the movie.
Yeah, so...
I mean, that's a very general, broad...
It is a summary.
There is a whole subplot where we get Mystique and the Beast, or soon to be the Beast, struggling over their mutant identity.
I also noticed that this synopsis conveniently left out the nuclear war that is present throughout this film. That is a very strange subplot.
Do you mean the nuclear war that had nothing to do with the rest of the plot? Is that what you're talking about?
Yep.
I
Basically.
think it's that one. Yeah.
Basically.
Do you guys remember this nuclear war subplot at all? Have you guys seen this movie before?
That's what I was going to ask you
Okay,
guys
yeah,
about.
yeah,
I
let's-
want to
let's do our
hear.
thoughts.
I want to hear your. And I'll shoot this over to you first, Micah. What have you seen? X-Men First Class.
Yeah, I've said this before, but I've seen all of the X-Men movies before. I watched them with my dad just a couple years ago. It was maybe 4 or 5 years ago now, and it was. I think we were in preparation for Dark Phoenix or something. We were watching them up till that, and we were like, "Oh yeah, Dark Phoenix is coming."
Oh boy.
We never watched it.
What a movie! What a movie to prep for.
Yeah. So we got through the X-Men movies and then just kind of stopped at Logan. We're like,
We can't.
we can't top this.
There's no point. Yeah, no point after Logan.
This movie's great. Actually, no. We stopped at Deadpool. My dad didn't want to watch Deadpool too.
Yeah.
Respectable.
Spoiler alert: nothing really does top
Yeah.
Logan, especially not Dark Phoenix.
But X-Men First Class. This movie was painfully mid. I'll say that.
Okay.
Painfully mid from
Painfully
Micah.
mid.
Micah, I know leading up to this film, you were very excited to watch it.
I'm excited for one of the X-Men past timeline movies.
You're
I
just-
just don't remember which one. Maybe it's all of them, just a
You're-
little bits from each.
Days
I'm
of-
going to tell you right now.
Yeah. Days of Future Past.
Days of Future
It's
Past.
Days of
Yeah.
Future Past. That
Days of
one is
Future
a
Peak. Gotcha.
very good movie. So
I
you say-
remember that one was really good. But there's a lot of things in this movie that don't add up. A lot of things that just are unearned. I don't know anything about this backstory that was not just already inferred from watching the first movies. So yeah, can't wait to talk about that movie. This weird movie with you guys.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
here, we're in a time in our Marvel movie marathon where we have ventured into the MCU, and now whenever we leave it, it is such a drastic change. And I just want to highlight a few IMDb user scores because for me, I like looking at those scores because to me, they're really reliable a lot of the time. But here, so Thor, which we watched last week and we all were really fond of it, it has a 7 on IMDb. And then we have Iron Man, which has a 7.9 on IMDb. I want to know where you guys think X-Men First Class falls in between those two.
I know where I would put it, but so I know that people really like this movie. Like this is one of the more fonder thought
Which is
of
weird to
X-Men
me.
films.
The 7.7 on IMDb.
7.7. Wow.
Two marks below Iron Man.
You know what's crazy though? This movie, if I can just keep rattling off some statistics here, it is our 5th place for worst X-Men performing movies.
Like money wise?
Yeah, money wise, it made 374 million, which isn't bad, but still way worse than like even Last Stand and the original X-Men made a ton. X-Men 1 made 296. I guess not. X-Men Origins Wolverine, which we reviewed last time, that was our last X-Men movie, 374. So we're kind of in this teen awkward phase for X-Men. They don't really know where they want to take the franchise. They wanted to do this Origins timeline thing, and they had Wolverine's origin movie, and then this was supposed to be Magneto's, right?
Yeah.
And it kind of was. A lot of this movie was Magneto, and I think the best parts of this movie is Magneto, at least in the first half, and then he kind of falls off. But other than that, this is it for the Origins movies.
Yeah. Ethan, are you agreeing with Micah that this is a painfully mid film?
Yeah, I say that a lot of this movie, I don't know where I'd class this yet. I'm excited to talk about it to see
First
where
class?
it fall in our rankings. But yeah, I'd say it's right middle of the road right now. We've had the privilege of watching really good movies on this watch through and really bad movies. Now, I don't think this is either a really bad movie or a really good movie. It just is painfully, like Micah said, in the middle. And we're gonna have to struggle at where to put this because I do think there are some fun moments, and I do like Michael Fassbender as Magneto. I think he's great, and Charles Xavier is really good. But I think all the other characters kind of fall flat and aren't really given any depth or important moments. And I don't really care. This movie moves really weird. It's very blocky. Things just happen, and you just kind of go along with it. Parts of it are cool, but I don't like the training sequence, and I don't like for a franchise that before was so held back and kind of wanted to be more serious. How in this movie they're just like, oh, we're gonna call you Magneto,
And you, Professor
you're Professor
X.
X,
And
Yeah.
we are the X.
We're the X-Men. Yeah. I don't know. To me, the writing in this movie isn't the best. I think it looks really cool at points and acting is okay for a lot of the characters. But yeah, I think the writing really lets it down. I say specifically in the middle. I think the beginning and the end are the best parts of this movie, but the middle, it really loses you, especially that scene where they're all giving each other names and trying to hype each other up as first class of X-Men. And it really makes the X-Men kind of boring to start off.
Real quick before we get into what we think, I want to hear what Ben thinks. He hasn't said what he thinks yet. And I don't want to get too far in before we skip that because
I like what you say
okay.
about Magneto being the best part of this movie and how this was originally supposed to be a Magneto solo film. It was like they combined, all right, Magneto's origin story is not going to work. Wolverine didn't make money. So now we're going to just jam all of the X-Men to it and make it more of like a team up movie. And those parts, I would say Charles Xavier also does a really good job with James McAvoy at the helm, but so much of this movie, I actively wanted to stop watching this movie first off. And it's weird because I've seen this movie before. I actually remember this movie fondly. I was excited to watch it. Obviously, not as excited to leave the MCU, but I have fond memories of X-Men First Class. This was not a good rewatch. I did not enjoy myself while I was watching this movie. Now, there are some great parts like we talked about with Michael Fassbender. He certainly has, in almost everything that he does in this movie, I would say actually that everything he has to do in this movie is
Perfection.
Exactly. He even delivers the best meme line of this movie. Perfection.
Cool.
Yeah. So he's great. James McAvoy has some good parts. The villain, all of the villains lack so much substance, but you just have these side villains and it's just, there's so much of this movie that gets crammed into it. And I don't really realize why people think this is a good X-Men film.
Well, I will tell you, I'm just glad we don't have to rank it because Hollywood Reporter ranked it for us.
Yes, let's see where they threw it.
And X-Men First Class ranked 37th place out of their 70 Marvel movies list. And if you guys don't know, Hollywood Reporter made the best Avengers list,
best
Marvel Cinematic Everything list.
If we had to classify it, it would be in first class. This list,
a first class list,
Yes.
really, an A tier, Avengers level list.
So this would put X-Men First Class in the bottom half by a couple spots.
Yeah, along with stars such as Thor. We just reviewed Thor, right? That was in 35th place. Would you guys say that was the 35th place kind of movie?
Well, right now we have it as third.
And then 36th place is Avengers Endgame. So
Yeah. This is one off of Endgame. That's good.
But
Basically.
the internet thinks that X-Men First Class is actually in 22nd place. I for those of you who don't know, I revised our list. So I have ultimate rankings for all of our, I pulled together Rotten Tomatoes audience, critic, Metacritic audience, and Metacritic critic, IMDb, and Letterboxd scores to create an average score. And X-Men First Class is at 22nd place.
Out of every
all
Marvel movie.
Yes, out of every Marvel movie that I have scores for right now. And
Interesting.
that puts it just below Doctor Strange and X-Men 2. Just above Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
So all of the critic scores averaged out.
People
That's the
think
score.
that this is a good movie.
That's what I'm saying.
On the same level as X-Men
so-
2. X-Men 2 didn't, where was that in money? X-Men 2 made $50 million more. Would you guys say X-Men 2 is a better movie?
Absolutely.
Easily.
It made $100 million less than Last Stand. Would you say it's $100 million less? See, it's weird.
It is
the
weird.
box
It's
office
also-
doesn't equate to the ratings.
It's also weird to look at it in terms of money, I think, because this movie came out in a time where the X-Men still reigned as like the chief interest as far as Marvel superheroes were. The MCU was just getting started. And the X-Men movies were still fondly thought of, and this is a prequel to those movies with a pretty star-studded cast, if you ask me. And so this probably generated a lot of interest and probably got fans pretty hyped because, let's be honest, as far as X-Men films go, we're not exactly at the top of the line as far as they go. So seeing a film like this may just have hit at the right time.
And Wolverine was pretty good. So it wasn't the best movie, but it was.
That one's not fondly thought of.
It's
though.
not fondly thought of.
No.
Okay.
Wolverine is like the more common opinion is Ethan's when it comes to X-Men Origins Wolverine. We have nostalgia that helps us with that one. But that one's, or Wolverine is probably the least of the X-Men movies.
But I would like to
Oh, I
compare
see that, yeah.
this movie to the first trilogy. How do we feel it holds up to the first three? Because I don't think it does.
See, that's the problem. Like, I would have said it's better than some of these.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm thinking, like,
I think it's better than The Last Stand, which is. What did I rank Last Stand? I don't know.
Maybe,
the internet
but-
says that The Last Stand is the worst of that trilogy.
it's an ensemble. All of those
Oh, no, I
movies.
thought it was good. That's right. I did think. I thought. I'm getting all confused. My numbers are all mixed up.
You got it.
Too many numbers.
Put the numbers
I'm
away.
putting the list away.
Yeah.
Get away
That's-
list.
that's what you gotta
Whatever.
do.
We've looked at it. I'm good.
But that's the thing, because like you have these are all ensemble films, and in my opinion, it hurts every one of the films. All 4 X-Men ensemble cast films, it absolutely hurts it because you don't get enough time to spend with the main characters. And there are some good ones, like Michael Fassbender takes the Logan spot of the original X-Men trilogy by being the main focused, interesting character. But it just hurts with character development. So it falls along the same lines as that. Like, I don't know. I'm not sure where I'm going to put this as far as X-Men movies go, but it's definitely in around the middle of my list. It's not very high up. Like I said, I did find myself very bored, especially during the middle part that Ethan talked about of this movie. I am not the biggest fan.
And something that I praised about X-Men 1 was the intro to the movie. And they just replay it for this movie. It is literally the same film of Magneto when he was a boy in a concentration camp, it's a very good scene, but they trim it down a ton to maybe 2 minutes, and then just have it transition into the torture scene.
The storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, one could say they even extended that scene. They gave more depth to that. And at this
They should
point,
have given us a new perspective or something. I don't know.
I would say they're still trying to keep it all together in the timeline, I guess, because they do make nods. They're playing chess. Like, this is still like the prequel. This is what happened back in the day.
It's a lot of forced, I think, though. There's a lot of, I mean, they call everyone, they pick all the names, right?
Yeah.
Just out of the blue. They're
Yeah.
like, oh, yeah. And then they have them play chess. All right. They do all the things that they're supposed to do, but are they the same characters? What do you guys think about Professor X? Is he Professor X in this movie? Or does he still have, is he a character that could be after some character development? Or what? What are we thinking?
He is very different. You know, we see him first of all walking around. Second of all, he's like a partier and a player. He's very popular with the ladies, and that's not really the Professor X that we see Patrick Stewart play later. And to me, I like that you said that they're still trying to work on the timeline. To me, it plays like this is the first X-Men movie they've ever made, and I know they were kind of going for that vibe, but kind of the name drops and just the way they did things, it felt like, we are introducing the big world to these characters and these concepts for the first time. When in reality, we had a whole trilogy about this already. Like, wait. We're going to say the name. We're going to say, this is Cerebro. Oh, no way. Like, we've already seen that in full effect in the other X-Men movies. So it's not as cool as I think they think it is.
Almost none of those moments work. And it almost feels cringy because the tone of the previous films has been so serious, black leather. We see it. They finally have the yellow suits in this movie.
How do you feel? Biggest payoff?
In some ways, yellow suits. They're not the comic book versions, but they are a step. I don't even know if I'd say that's the right
color.
direction.
I want to ask you guys, what is the most earned thing in this movie?
When they
Because
say Among Us. That's the only part where we freaked out.
They did say it in the first trilogy, did they not?
They did. Multiple times.
I just want to know if anything worked for you guys, because
Logan worked. Once again, Logan comes in and saves the movie.
See,
saved it.
That's the thing, because like he's a great part of the movie, but he was a cornerstone to have in those first 3 movies. You don't have him now with these movies. There's a reason the very next movie is a bridge between the two. You know, to fix the timeline, I guess.
Take these characters we establish and then throw an interesting character in there.
Logan is the main
Yeah,
character.
yeah.
So as far as moments that are earned, I guess, in this movie, I would say the only thing that's earned is the thing that was set up in this movie, and it's that Eric Lensher's Magneto gets revenge on the torturer from his childhood. Like I feel pretty good about that. That's the only plot element that I'm like, okay, that's good.
I think as far as the Professor X and Magneto relationship go, I think that's pretty compelling, and I enjoy that a lot. But a lot of the other stuff, the whole team element, no part of this first class of X-Men feels like a team. And we were all
ripped apart in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, we were all watching this together, and we were watching them do the training montage, and it is just really weird.
Even before that, when they're in the CIA headquarters and they're just hanging out, we're meeting all the people and they're naming everybody. It's like, what team in an action movie bonds by talking in a small group discussion? Like, they're just hanging out and chilling instead of showing their, like, actually using their powers in combat. They're just like, check out what I can do.
Yeah, someone needs to get shot for assembling that scene in the way that it was done. Because
My name is Mystique. Oh, darn it. I wanted that name.
I distinctly remember basing a lot of playground stories, you know, when we're just hanging out in the playground when I was in elementary school, off of this movie. Because we're like, oh, if they can introduce characters and powers like that, then I can totally do that too. It's such an easy cop-out way to introduce abilities. I'm surprised it even made it out of the writer's room, honestly. Do you guys agree? Like, how the Avengers does such a better job. The MCU does such a better... They don't even introduce... Did they even say Hawkeye's name in Thor?
No,
they don't. Because they don't need to. We know who he is.
See, but that's the issue, because in the Avengers, you have all these movies that are set up. The X-Men movies, and that's my main issue. They never have that. They never have movies that can set up all of the characters. So your focus is only on the main characters. Exactly. So those scenes don't work. And especially not because in this movie, almost any scenes with those younger kids are amazingly cringe. They are horribly cringy. There are so many lines that I'm going to have some in here that I'm going to throw in here, but there are so many that are so cringy. And when they're in the CIA and they're naming it, it's the chief offense of everything like that.
I want to be called Mystique.
Damn, I wanted to be called Mystique.
What's your name?
How about Bigfoot?
Well, you know what they say about guys with big feet? And yours are kind of small. Yours are kind of small.
Speaking of cringe, there is across the board, this whole movie has a lot of cringe dialogue, as well as having a very high tone of like sexuality in this movie.
Yeah.
Emma Frost almost always is showing cleavage. Why? Why do we have that?
Same thing with
Mystique?
Mystique.
Yeah.
Mystique, yes.
Mystique.
More of that at the end. And it was like, it felt awkward. You felt awkward watching it like this. And
Oh, the mannequin.
Why were they all female? Why does he feeling up a mannequin?
the mannequin
Who was touching that mannequin?
It was
it was
Havoc.
It was.
Oh no, it wasn't
Beast.
Havoc. It was Beast. Yeah, it was.
He let the beast out a little too much.
The Crystal Girl, they only had her in there for eye candy. It was weird.
Yeah.
Why did we need a Mystique cross
Hold
Professor
on.
X character. That's just
Hold on, we glossed over it. The audience needs to feel the effect of what happened. So Havoc is testing out his powers. They bring in a very seductive mannequin for him to test it out on and like blow it up or whatever.
Well, it wasn't so
Then they bring
seductive,
in
but-
3 of those mannequins, not fully nude, like with nipples. I'm like,
And
what's
that's-
going on here?
Every mannequin has those.
And so, I don't know. I don't know about that. And
Ben hasn't
so,
been checking out mannequins.
see, there you go. Even
Oh,
better.
boy.
And so there is a scene, it's a straight cutaway, and the Beast literally has his hand on, it is
He
fondling
puts the tape on
the
and he like
breast.
gets a little.
the breast of the mannequin. What? I audibly gasped when that happened. I cannot believe that was in the movie. What purpose did that serve?
The most action he gets in his life.
No, because he was with Mystique the whole time. They were totally getting together, except when he like totally like was like, nah, you're
He's
not.
like, you're ugly.
You are not beautiful.
We're gonna fix your ugliness.
Right.
You're not gonna be blue anymore. You're not gonna be part of the Blue Man Group.
That. What do you guys think of that? That whole subplot of
It was-
Beast and Mystique.
I don't think that was written. That like, why was he supportive of her up until the shots were created?
Mhm.
He was saying that she was beautiful and all this, and then something changed, but they didn't write it like he changed. They
Right.
wrote it like it was just always there.
I think he does think that she is beautiful. I just think that he's more focused on making them seem normal. And to her, in her point, she's like, well, no, maybe
He's like, you've
maybe I
always
do
been
want to
hiding.
live like
You've
this.
always been hiding anyway. So what's the point? You know, let's fix this.
I'm just confused on why she even needs this. Like, she can shapeshift.
Yeah.
She can just be a human if she needs to, or she can be Mystique if she needs to. Like, I don't see a problem here. For Beast, I get it. That dude's got some gnarly feet, hands, or whatever.
And shoes might be really uncomfortable for him. Speaking of clothes, do you guys understand Magneto's logic behind, they don't put clothes on a tiger, so you shouldn't wear clothes either. Okay, creep.
That's another weird
Why is
example of
he
the writing.
telling Mystique to just not wear clothes?
They have a thing.
Because she's still naked. What?
I mean, pretty much.
I'm still. And the other characters acknowledge it too. Professor X, he's like, what's going on? Why are you not
Right.
wearing clothes?
Yeah. Yeah, to me, going back and watching all these X-Men movies, it gets me really, really excited for the way that MCU Studios will eventually tell this story and introduce these characters, because so far, even though X2 I think was really good and the first X-Men is pretty good, I think that they don't even come close to what the MCU can do with a cast of characters.
You mean like the New Mutants?
Oh man, that one is absolutely horrendous. Do you think this is bad? It's not like that's what I'm saying, dude. That I can't believe I'm this negative about this movie when so many people think, oh no, First Class was a good X-Men movie. That was one of the good ones. Not at all.
It feels like a lower class movie. I say class, but yeah, it's not written as it should be. The whole plot with the government just does not make any sense whatsoever. I didn't understand why they wanted to start a nuclear war at all. I don't understand how he would benefit from the nuclear war. Kevin Bacon, which let me add real quick for our listeners at home, Kevin Bacon will not return to the Marvel movies until Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, which is that canon? Is it canon?
Absolutely, it's
It's
canon.
canon.
Yeah.
So yeah, the official next appearance of Kevin Bacon is Holiday Special.
Yeah, I like
That's
what you
crazy.
say. I like what you say. None of it was very accurately explained.
None of it mattered.
Like all of the whole nuclear war, I was like, who? I wasn't invested in the plot. Like,
why were they in that ocean? Like, why would the general lead them out there just to have them turn back around last second and then not have any sort of failsafe? And then why did nobody else launch the missile towards that battleship? I just don't get it. Why were they there in the first place? If they didn't want to start a war, then why were they there anyway?
the
It was
MCU.
the Russians. The Russians. That's right.
Yeah, probably. It's usually always the Russians at this point, I
No,
guess.
like, why were the Russians there at Cuba? And why was America defending? Was
That's
America?
the thing. You're not really supposed to think about that. It's supposed to be all of your focus is to be on the X-Men and
Weirdest
the
Cold
origin.
War movie I've ever seen.
Very, very factual.
Here we go. We were talking about why the critics or even fans really like this show. So just for fun, I pulled up a few Rotten Tomatoes critic scores.
Here we go.
And here's one of them from Don Shanahan. X-Men First Class crafts this engaging story, spy film look, and retro style with enough action and tricks to impress those still looking for a comic book movie. And that is from, I mean, that's as recent as 2021. Let me go down to
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
See, I think this movie gets way worse with
hold
age.
on. The popular reviews on Letterboxd all say that Charles and Eric are in love and that they're gay. So
That about makes sense.
I can see how a bunch of people would like this movie for that reason, but I don't think that they're in love. There's what?
Bro, was that the intention?
I'm not even
Like all of these are saying that there's like an underlying romance between these two.
I'm not even going to entertain that. These are the same people who think Frodo and Sam need to be in a relationship. All right, don't
Here,
even
wait.
entertain
I
this.
found another review that is actually a rotten review from
Cuba Beach scene is the most
Linona
heartbreaking breakup
Laurie,
scene.
and she says, "What if we make a movie where women could only contribute to the plot while they were wearing underwear?" I think
That's a great review.
pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, every single review, every time Charles and Eric appeared in the same shop together, everything got 10 times gayer. Now, is
Micah,
reading
get off this one.
another man's mind?
I'm not
Ben,
entertaining this.
Ben, is reading another man's mind gay?
Is reading another man's mind gay?
Yeah.
I guess I'm a gay guy because I've done that many times.
You read people's minds, Ben?
Yep.
Ethan, I'm reading your mind right now.
You're
I'm
reading my
crying.
mind?
I'm crying. I'm not gay, but I'm crying. I've seen
boy.
your pain. You've been. I'm
No,
gonna
they
stop
are
it there.
not in love. No,
They're not in love.
They're
There wasn't a
two
breakup
dudes
scene.
who give excellent acting
6 feet apart.
performances. That's why 6 feet apart, exactly. Like I said, those two are probably they're why I keep watching the movie. Honestly, they're the only really good. I think Jennifer Lawrence gives a good performance as Mystique. Like
Yeah.
she's good, and I like the route that they go with her character. Like, but as in terms of accepting yourself and like that's important, but they don't really go anywhere with it. And then she ends up on the evil side at the end. So it's like,
This is also
Yeah.
the first X-Men movie that's besides X-Men Origins Wolverine, which is going for a different thing. This is a mainline X-Men movie
Yes.
that is not going for a mutants' rights point of like theme. The only theme of mutants' rights is with Mystique,
yeah, that's as far as it goes.
and the rest of none of the rest of the movie is political. It's all war, and not like a substantial war. It's just like they're mad at each other because Cold War, and you should already know about the Cold War, and that's the only reason. It's not saying anything bigger about the X-Men universe, which is what I thought the trilogy did right. Would you guys agree that the X-Men trilogy, for what kind of there were some things wrong with the original X-Men trilogy, but what it did right was it showed that there's this world of conflict between the normal people and the mutants.
Yeah. It hits at home on that part, and it really
And this one does not.
it elaborates why Magneto is the way he is and the hate he has for humans. But we learn in this movie the person he hates the most isn't a human; it's also a mutant.
Yeah.
So it kind of doesn't work in that aspect.
It doesn't work if the person he hates is also a mutant, and then also Professor X, who wants to get everyone together, is also hated because he wants to find everyone, and then he's like, no, then they'll just round everyone up again and then kill them all like they did in the Holocaust.
I will say, in defense of that one, the only reason that he kills Kevin Bacon is because Kevin Bacon killed his mom. Like that's it.
Question:
That
Ben,
scene was pretty sick.
without
Everything was
looking,
amazing.
can you tell me what Kevin Bacon's character's name is? Micah, Kevin Bacon's character's
You
name,
know I'm bad at names.
because I have no idea.
No, that's a good
Eric
point.
Schlosser.
Eric
Schmidt. It's
Lenscher. Oh, that's
it's
right.
Schmidt. It's
No, it's not Schmidt.
Shaw. Schmidt or Shaw?
Shaw. Yeah.
I mean, I think he's
name?
called both.
First name?
Hold on. Did you look it up?
Is it Patrick?
No, it's not Patrick.
Patrick Shaw.
Winter Soldier.
No, it's
Winter Soldier.
Bucky.
Bucky. That's it. That's
Bucky
it.
Shaw.
Legit?
No, Sebastian.
Oh,
Sebastian Shaw.
Sebastian.
His
Remember,
name is Sebastian Shaw.
Sebastian Shaw, yeah.
Oh,
And I think one of my least favorite parts of this movie is Charles McAvoy's accent.
yeah.
I think it's a little too overdone in some way.
Is it an accent?
Yeah, it's an accent. I think it's just like his real accent. No.
Yeah, no, I
James,
think-
he's Irish, I'm pretty sure. I think he's got a Welsh
No, I'm pretty sure that's like his actual voice. Like
boy
that is
accent.
how he talks.
He's got a Glasgow accent. Yeah, it's Scottish. It's Glasgow.
Oh, okay.
So,
That could be.
I don't like how he's pronounced as Sebastian. There was another couple words in there that I was like, it's weird. That's not how Professor X would say it in the other movies.
I see.
Minor.
Ethan, you were talking about unearned and earned moments, and I would say there's a lot of unearned ones, but one that is earned, I would say, is how Professor X loses his ability to walk. I like that scene. For context, Magneto is being shot at, and one of the bullets he deflects goes right into Charles's back. And it's actually a pretty emotional scene because they're fighting, and right when that happens, they stop fighting, and he goes right to his side and he's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean for this to happen. Like, it's more than just the feud between them. Like, there's something bigger at stake here. And he truly doesn't want his friend to get hurt. I think that moment is earned. But everything else, I would say no.
And I think it's a fair enough way to write how he loses his legs. Because I looked it up, and apparently in the comics he loses his legs in similar ways. He's had a rock dropped on his legs, or he's had alien babies hatched in him, and then his body is cloned. So that
Much better than the way they reveal why Nick Fury lost an eye.
yeah.
Still salty about that 4
that's
years
so
later.
funny.
4 years later, I'm
And
still salty.
I'd say it's much better than a lot of the payoffs they tried to do in X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Or X-Men First Class. Even.
Yeah.
You don't have to go far.
Yeah, that's true. Do you guys, should we do favorite character? Or is there anything else you guys want to mention about this film?
Well, there's so much I want to mention that
What about the
is
score?
bubbling. Yeah, what do you got, Micah?
What about the score, Ben? You're the score guy.
The score?
The score's good.
How'd the music sound?
Music's good.
There's one theme that really stands out, and it's Magneto's theme. And that's really good. But overall, Henry Jackman, his best score, in my opinion, is Captain America, the Winter Soldier. That's his best work. Ooh. Other than that, he doesn't really particularly produce the best music out there. It's serviceable for the film. But Magneto's theme is good in here. It's nothing compared to Sam Raimi's Spider-Man theme or Thor's theme or even Iron Man's theme from the first one, to be honest with you. It's not the greatest. But I will say, on the way here, we were all singing the Magneto theme.
We were singing it?
Humming it, singing it, whatever you want to say. But
wow. It appears the writers for this movie are quite close. They went
like
on to
17 of them. Like there's a bunch of them.
There's a bunch of them. I see 3 on IMDb, and so far the ones that I've seen, they were all part. Oh wait, there are more. Wow.
Look at that, dude.
There's a couple.
I mean, the last 2 were comic book creators, but
The first 3 then, Ashley Miller, Zach Stentz, and Jane Goldman. Let me see if Matthew Vaughn also goes on to. Yep, they're all part of the Kingsman group. They eventually go on to make all 3 Kingsman movies.
have you seen those movies, Micah?
I have not. But
I've
they are Marvel movies too.
I've heard those movies. Have you seen those movies, Ethan? Kingsman?
No.
I've heard those movies are along the general lines of this movie.
Yeah.
It's the audiences are generally mixed
Okay.
when it comes to stuff like this. But
There's also another group of movies that I. Also, Matthew Vaughn produced Fan Four Stick.
Oh boy.
Take with that how you will.
Oh boy.
wow, now it all makes
get
sense.
there. To me,
But he also did Rocket
a
Man.
defining factor of these Marvel movies is there's one thing that really separates the good ones from the bad ones. and it tends to be all the good ones. Not Papa Feige.
Oh.
They have
What
a
is it?
Stan Lee cameo. There's no Stan Lee cameo in this. And
Oh my gosh, is
I
there
think
not?
that says something.
Well, what were the ones that were bad that didn't have a Stanley cameo?
Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck, Blade,
Did Elektra have a no?
The Blade movies did not have a
X-Men
Stanley
1.
cameo.
right?
I'm just saying it.
No,
it just
you're right.
Says something. The MCU is established, and the X-Men movies are something. And there's no Stan Lee cameo.
Stan Lee cameo.
Yeah.
He cameoed in all the MCU movies so
Daredevil
far.
had one.
Daredevil had one,
Yep.
so it's peak.
Daredevil's peak. Yeah. That's
Elektra.
just something I noted.
He was also in all the Spider-Man movies.
I'd say from this point going forward, after the MCU has been established, we should know which ones have Stan Lee in it and
Spirit
which
of
ones
Vengeance.
don't.
Do you guys think it'll have a cameo?
No.
No.
Oh,
no way.
great. So that
Is
one's...
he in Big Hero 6?
He is.
Oh,
He's in the
Yes.
end credits, if I'm not mistaken, right?
He also is in the middle of the movie. It flashes to a portrait.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's right. He's the dad. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
What about Fan Four Stick? Is he in that? I haven't seen it.
I have
Spoilers?
seen a long time ago. I don't know.
Dark Phoenix?
I don't know.
I
New
don't
Mutants.
think he's
New
in that
Mutants.
one.
Gotta
No,
be-
definitely not.
What was the last one he was in? He was in
The New Mutants takes place in like a school
Endgame
like
was the last
whole
one,
time.
right? Or Far From Home.
Endgame
Endgame.
was his last cameo.
So not New
May he rest in peace.
Rest in Excelsior.
Micah, do you have a favorite character
Logan.
in this
No.
movie?
Logan.
Logan. I'm
gotta
gonna
be
say
You can go
Logan.
with Logan if you want.
No, I'm gonna go with Magneto. I think they had a movie with him, and then they just dropped it 45 minutes into this one because this movie's 2 hours and 10 minutes.
It's a long one,
This is a longer movie, and
you feel it.
yeah, this movie starts off kind of strong with Magneto's kind of spy stuff going on, and people praise it for the spy stuff. But where it falls short is after that halfway point, once they become the quote unquote X-Men, Magneto loses his touch. He loses what makes Magneto Magneto. He isn't abrasive to Charles at all until that very last beach scene. He just willingly goes with everything, and there's no struggle between the two. And I feel like Magneto should have put up more of a fight to Charles' advice, especially the mind reading stuff. He should have been like, no, this is my private mind. You know, you can't just go in there. That's a big thing going forward, is that he doesn't want Charles in his mind as much, right? Yeah, Charles in the first half. Not Charles, Magneto in the first half.
Magneto in the first half.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I like that. I
So
could have
would-
seen an entire John Wick style Magneto movie
Oh,
where he goes around and just kills the Nazis.
that would be
Right. Yeah.
That'd
that
be
would be pretty
sick.
sick. Ethan,
My favorite character is Emma Frost. No, I'm messing with you guys. I'm messing
Emma
around.
Frost shirt.
or the lack thereof.
I also wanted, before we get further, I want to note that Zoe Kravitz is in this film. Catwoman in the Batman.
Yeah, woman.
Yeah.
Much better role in Batman.
Is she in
Definitely,
any other Marvel movies after this? Zoe Kravitz. I'm not too familiar with her character.
Let's see. I'm gonna take.
Max.
I'm gonna take Darwin as my favorite. No, I'm kidding. Man,
Oh, she's Mary Jane in Into the Spider-Verse?
Yep.
What?
Yes, she is.
Catwoman in the Lego Batman movie?
That one too.
What?
see. So Micah took Magneto. So
Okay.
I mean, I want to take Professor X, but then who does that leave you with?
I got it.
You
Don't
got
worry
it?
about it.
Okay.
Take Professor X.
I'll take Professor
I
X.
did not like Professor X.
James McAvoy, I'll take him. He has enough in there to where I like him, and I specifically like any scene he shares with Michael Fassbender, and we'll dive into it a little further when we talk about our favorite scene. But yeah, I'll take Professor X.
You know, I think why I don't like Professor X in this movie is because this is him at his worst writing.
Mm-hmm.
This is the worst Charles that we have, I feel.
And
And
I mean-
after this, we get our redemption Charles. We get our full redemption arc in, like, from worst to in Days of Future Past, right? Doesn't he have that?
He
that
has a
arc?
great arc in
He
Days
has a
of Future
great
Past.
arc in Days of Future Past, and I can't wait for that. In Logan, he's such a great character. In the X trilogy, he's a great character. And in this movie, he's so blah to me.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like generic smart guy who is obsessed with mutants, and then can also read
I
minds. But
agree.
also, all the times he has to read minds, he's like, "Oh, sorry, I can't help you here. I guess I will not be as much help as I thought I was going to be tonight." What?
I don't disagree with anything
Yeah.
you said. I just say that there's not a lot of good characters in this movie, and that's where it really suffers. It suffers at writing good characters, and it's hard to buy into James McAvoy because you did have Patrick Stewart, perfect casting, playing Professor X before this, and it will be really fun to see them in Days of Future Past interact together on screen. I think that'll be really fun, but yeah, I don't got much more to say on that.
I'm going to defend Jay. I think James McAvoy does a great job as an early Professor X. I think
the writing.
his acting is, I think, is great, and I like a lot of his writing. You see the foundations of his like conflict with Eric. You see where the differences lie. I think that he portrays that really well, and I think this is just the first in him growing into the character that he becomes, I guess. It doesn't really work because it ends in Dark Phoenix, and I mean, you guys haven't seen that movie, so
No, I've seen it.
you have seen Dark
it in
Phoenix.
theaters.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, we were prepping to watch it in theaters. We missed it by a long shot, and then just never got around to watching it. So I just
So
watched
you
it on
know,
my own
it doesn't
time.
really end off very well.
Yeah.
Like in a final, like I
If
don't
it
know.
helps, I don't remember that movie at all.
Well, there you go. See, that speaks
I
for
remember there was
itself.
a campfire scene, and like everyone dies.
Yeah,
That's all I remember.
Spoilers.
Oh yeah. Spoilers for the worst movie ever.
it doesn't matter. Yeah, that's what I like to say. As far as the characters that are left with any sort of substance, I'm gonna take Mystique because
I
she's
agree.
the only other character that I can think. I agree with Ethan.
What about Beast, man?
Beast
He gets
has
an
terrible
arc,
acting,
dude.
He has terrible acting in this movie. Nicholas Hoult is on his way to becoming a good actor, but he does not have
Who
his
does he play
acting
later?
chops in here. He plays Tolkien, and he plays a better Beast in the future X-Men.
And he most recently played a character in The Menu.
Yes. So, yeah, Mystique, she has some sort of an arc. I don't even have much to say on Mystique. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, besides her arc in fighting for mutant rights, she's the only other character with any sort of substance that you can grab onto and kind of relate to. So, and she has a great story actually in Days of Future. Actually, you know what? Pretty much everything about Days of Future Past is really, really good. So, you know, the next time we talk about the X-Men, that's gonna be a good one. But favorite scene, Ethan. We're gonna start with you actually on this one.
Real quick.
Ooh.
The CIA agent, Oliver Platt, who we thought was he sounded like a narrator, right? That guy with the, with the radio voice.
Yeah.
His name is Man in Black Suit. He's never given a name, but he's like in more scenes than some of the mutants.
True.
Which I just thought that was weird. I was going through IMDb looking for Nicholas Hoult and found that. So
Man in Black Suit.
Man in Black Suit.
That's his name.
Yeah, that's it.
That is his name.
Huh.
That's so weird.
Why don't they give him a name?
What's up, man?
What's up, Man in Black Suit? Favorite scene, Ethan?
I kind of forgot how this scene plays out
Which
because
is a testament
typical.
to the
Yeah.
film.
all I know is it was some scene between Magneto and Professor X where they talk about something. I think it might have been when they were playing chess by the Lincoln.
Was it when
Statue?
he moved
Oh, when
the
he's talking about the
satellite?
they're talking about their
No,
grand
it's
plans,
not that.
but not directly. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna help to train all the mutants," and then he's like,
I
"Yeah,
think
I also am."
that's it. Yeah.
Some scene between Professor X and Magneto.
I don't remember
I'm
it.
sure that one
Was it the one where they're crying or the one where they're playing chess?
I think it's when they're playing chess by the
On the-
Lincoln Memorial.
Yep, that's
when
what
they
it is.
lean in and they almost kiss, and then
I think
Oh.
that's what they found
I'm
on
buying into
Letterboxd.
your theory, Micah.
remember when his queen took Charles's queen, and then they got a little steamy in there.
Oh boy! Oh boy!
Why would
Micah,
Well, I
your
was actually
favorite scene.
thinking about that because they used the chessboard in not that them kissing. So in the original.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, in the original X-Men trilogy, they used the chessboard to show how the conversation is going. And why did Magneto take Charles's queen with a queen? Why would Charles let that happen?
You got me,
That's
man.
something I was thinking of, and I don't know if it was just like, oh, we're gonna have him take the queen with a queen because that'd be cool. But I don't know. Anyway, favorite scene when I like the montage scene. Or okay, besides the Magneto stuff, because I've already talked about that. Boring, whatever. I like the montage scene where they're going around to the different places and getting the different mutants. So they use Cerebro for the first time, and we're like, "Oh, cool!" And he's like,
That is cool.
He's going into it's writing down all the coordinates and stuff, and then we get to see our Logan cameo.
Excuse me, I'm Eric Lensher.
Charles Xavier.
Go f yourself.
Sick. Our F-bomb.
We also see a Storm real quick, and then
Yep.
a Scott Summers real quick too.
That's right. Pretty sick.
Which is strange because in the X-Men movies, they seem to be in their upper 20s. And in this movie, it's set 40 years before those movies are
I like
set.
how they fill in the plot hole of Mystique being young by just giving her halftime.
You can be as young as you want.
She's
True.
like just a cutaway line. Oh yeah, by the way, your cells, they don't mature as fast, so it doesn't explain why she's not old or not young right now. Like why isn't she 10 or 15 or something? If she ages, how old is Professor X? He's got to be mid-20s, late 20s.
Late 20s, early
And
30s, yeah.
she's got to be. She can't be
Around
like
the
16,
same. No,
17,
around the same.
No, like physical age. She can't be like 16, 17. That's not right.
I'm not sure. I don't think she ages slower. I think the appearance
Oh, okay.
and the, like your body, you just have the physicality and
Because
the,
16 years is still 16 years
I guess so.
on Earth. So
Yeah.
you just age slower, like dog years, sort of. They age faster.
Mystique.
Mystique years.
That's what it is. There you go. I think the best scene is when Magneto goes in the diner and
Yes.
he
Yeah.
sick.
That's a good
finds
one.
the two guys who are with
That was Western,
his,
like.
big time. And he gets a drink and he sits down. They're all speaking in German and he like impresses them with that. He sits down and the action and along with the score, which is at its best in that scene, is done really, really well. And I wish honestly the whole movie was that style, honestly. But that's in my opinion, my favorite scene.
I liked how it was. What do you guys do for a living? Oh, I'm a pig farmer and I moved out here because I need more land or whatever. Oh, I'm a tailor and I like to make clothes or something. And then he's like, "What do you do?" Oh, my parents were killed by a pig farmer and a tailor. And he's clicking his cup to their cups.
Really well done.
And then they slowly lower their cup, and he lifts his cup slowly with a big old smile on his face. He's like, "Oh, I got you guys now. Checkmate."
Magneto has some cool scenes in this. Like
Definitely.
when he controls the anchor and he like cuts the ship in half.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. It's weird though what they
It's moving
decide
slow.
Magneto can do and what he can't do. He can move a massive anchor, but the satellite, which spins by itself, is too heavy to spin. I don't know. I don't know where his
Or
limits
that
are.
he can. One thing that I actually audibly said during the movie was, how can he move himself relative to that submarine? How is he like pulling himself with it?
Well, that's stuff we see in the early X-Men movies. He can fly just
He
by.
can fly, but I imagined he was wearing metal on his shoes, so
Yeah.
he's lifting up the
Yes.
shoes. But why is he able to
Grab
move
onto metal and move?
grab onto something far and hold on to it? Like as he's
Yeah.
pulling it towards him, I don't know why it would propel him forward.
That's the least of my concerns.
Yes, right. I feel like it would have something
This
to do
is
with
the
like
most concerning problem with the movie. Magneto. That's
one
why.
of
That's
many.
probably why they scrapped the Magneto origins. They're like, well, we can't do this anymore.
he is a very powerful mutant. So you can't think of it like that, You can't think of what he can and can't do because it's what the script was. Stan Lee is famously quoted as saying, it's the debate between who would win between superheroes. And he says, I know exactly who would win. It's whoever the storyteller wants to win. That's who's going to win. So my dad is the chief offender when it comes to this stuff because whenever we get out of superhero films, he'll always say, well, why didn't he do this? Why didn't Doctor Strange make a spell that would reverse all of this in Spider-Man No Way Home? And if you think like that, you're not going to enjoy superhero films because every film has
Exactly.
that.
There's
He's
always
thinking of the multiverse.
Yeah, you have to just sit back and enjoy the story because there are elements in every superhero story that just you have to just jump over. You have to be like, all right, that's fine. That's fine. Like especially when Spider-Man beats Doctor Strange in the mirror dimension.
Right.
Yeah. What if? There's a show for that.
If you were to ask me who would win in a fight, I'd say Doctor Strange. But in that moment in time, with Doctor Strange being all wacky, the script had Spider-Man win that fight.
Spider-Man movie. He can't die.
Exactly.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Plus, we got to see Tobey Maguire. So, and Andrew Garfield.
But like good stories can do it in a way that narratively work.
Right.
And you sit back and look at it. Okay.
And that's what degrades it
that
from a
worked.
9 to like an 8.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
In
This
most,
movie
in
goes
certain
from a 9
ways.
to an 8.
this one goes from a 9 to a 10.
Oh, 9 to a 10.
And speaking of
Got it.
scores, now's the time, gentlemen.
You know, there
Now's
is a
the time.
number in this title.
There is
First.
a number. It
What-
will
so
not
right now
be.
our first place is Spider-Man 2. Are we willing?
X-Men First Class.
Yes, let's get first class. All right.
All
Me,
right.
my score, I give it a 10. Ben?
10.
10.
All right, that's 10
going
out of
Hollywood.
10,
Going
baby.
Hollywood.
Oh boy, nothing's gonna top First Class. It is truly the first of its
It's
class.
the Morbius of their
It is the
time.
Morbius of the X-Men films. So when when we review Morbius, can we give it 11s out of 10?
I was actually just thinking about that.
Yeah, so we'll
Are
for
we
sure.
going to allow
the first 11 out of 10.
like higher than 10? If
No.
it like transcends it? I don't think so.
Transcends
no.
the realm of the.
We just knock everything down, however many percent or points.
Oh, okay. Nah, yeah, that's not.
Howard the Duck goes negative. And
Once we get to Infinity War, and we've collected all the Infinity Stones of all these movies, we have the power to snap the scores in half, thus making 8s 4s,
Now,
moving everything down.
reality
Yeah.
can be whatever I want. Micah, what is your reality for
Ooh.
X-Men First Class? What score?
Man, so X-Men First Class. Is it as good as the first 3 movies? I'd say no. I'd say it's not even as good as the first one. I'd say that there are some things in the first movie that are way better because there's Logan in it, and Logan is the greatest character in the X-Men saga. Everyone knows that. It's not even my own opinion; it's everyone's opinion.
I agree.
So while I am stalling for time, so I can think of a score here, I'm gonna say. Ooh, you know what? That's good. I'll go with that. 6.6.
Oh, wow.
66.
6.6.
I'm going 6.6.
Wow.
Ethan, are you struggling as much as I am
think
as
so.
where to put
I think
this?
I think that the action in some of the scenes is okay. The beginning half really good, really solid, right? But the end just has the missile thing with with Magneto picking up and dropping the missiles is like whoa. It's cartoony. It's not even comic-y. It's just cartoony. There are some choices in this movie with we didn't even talk about Darwin. He was one of my favorite potential characters in this movie, and they kill him off.
We didn't talk about a character who has 2 minutes of screen time?
Dude,
Holy catfish.
Darwin is really cool. How he can adapt to his environment immediately. And you know the potential you can have with that? You can have this super OP character, and they just give him an energy ball and kill him off in a Multiverse of Madness style way.
Yeah.
This movie doesn't know what tone it wants. There's the super dorky teen movie with the first class of X-Men, and then it goes right into what's his name? Mephisto dude picking up people and dropping them from
Azazel? Is that his name?
Yeah, that guy.
Azazel.
Azazel dropping them from feet up in the air.
I don't know. It shifts around a lot. I mean, starting off with the Holocaust right up front, opening the movie, and then the tones of the movie are really unbalanced. And I told myself at the beginning of the podcast, once Micah said that he flipped on this movie and he doesn't like it as much as he does or did once upon a time, or thought he did, I told myself, all right, I'm going to match Micah's score.
You're gonna match it?
Whatever Micah gives it, I'm going to give it. But I heard your
Oh,
score.
wait. Better than Spider-Man 3?
Yes, that is what I said. I'm like, it is not better
It's
than
not better
Spider-Man.
than Spider-Man 3 for you.
It's
No.
not. So that is why I'm going to just give it a flat 6.
Flat 6?
Yeah, because I've consulted the list.
I
I've
might come down.
I've consulted the list. I've looked at all the other movies,
I might
and
come down.
I think 6 is where I want this to sit. And I think that it does, for me, The other 6s I've given out are, let me consult the list. Are I gave Incredible Hulk a 6.
I'm going down.
And I gave Fantastic Four a 6, and I gave X-Men: The Last Stand a 6.
I gave Iron Man 2 a 6.6. I'm dropping this down to a 6.2. There's no way. Yeah, it's closer to a 6. I agree.
Yeah,
Not quite a 6 for me, because then we're reaching towards levels of what's like a 5.9 from like a Hulk was a 5.6. That's
Which Hulk?
Hulk.
Incredible or
2003
Ang Lee's?
Ang Lee's Hulk. Yeah. So, and then Punisher Warzone is a 6.5. I think that had some cooler moments in some ways.
You're Michael. You have some criminally high scores.
Dude, Punisher Warzone had some
Warzone,
sick blood scenes.
Howard the Duck, you have.
And this movie had some sick stuff too.
It did.
Yeah, I can't knock it for that. So I'm going locking in 6.2.
6.2. And then Ethan, you had
Going flat 6.
a flat 6.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna. If the only real enjoyment I get out of this movie is between Magneto and some of Charles Xavier's moments, I cannot justify. I really did actually have a bad time watching this. I guess I'm just not the biggest X-Men fan. The highest I gave the best, like X-Men 2 was like 7.5. They never reach it for me. I'm just not invested in the X-Men universe. I don't know if that's because it's not continuing. No, I can recognize a good movie.
I'm not happy with my score anymore.
Like, I just do not like this movie. And I had it at a 6 originally. But now I'm going down. I'm going down after this discussion. It's not good. It doesn't have a lot of redeeming values. Now, yeah, there's good stuff with Magneto, but that's...
Question. So we all united over X2. I'm feeling that again. Can we unite? Collectively unite our scores here.
I'm going to 5.5. That's my 5.5.
Micah, would you go down to a 5.5?
I'd go down to a 5.5. I can see that.
I will take my score to 5.5 also.
5.5? All
yes,
right.
let's collectively go
5.5.
5.5 on
X
That's
United
beautiful.
on the first class. So that brings our average score to,
Oh,
guess it, 5.5.
oh.
Look
So-
at that. Okay, so where does it rank as far as 24 films now? Right?
24 films.
Okay.
24 films.
Where are we at?
So it is ranked 17th place.
Okay.
Wait,
Out
no.
of 24?
Yeah. 17th place out of 24.
What's below this movie?
Blade Trinity.
Just below it?
Just below it. So we got a 55 on this one. 55.6 is The Punisher. And then 58.3 is The Incredible Hulk.
What? Hold on. 58?
58.3.
Average.
Okay. So I did times 10.
Oh,
So
okay.
5.8.
So technically it's 5.8.
5.8
Okay.
is
Refer to it as
Incredible
that.
Hulk. Yeah, sorry. 5.8 is The Incredible Hulk.
Okay.
5.5 is The Punisher. 5.5. All right, so 5.56 for The Punisher. 5.5 for X-Men First Class.
Oh, so like it's right there.
It's right there.
It's below Punisher.
Just
By
below
a
Punisher.
0.01. Holy cow.
If you want to read off our top 5 movies
When's your
so
6?
far.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. Before we... No, yeah, go ahead. Read off the top 5.
Top 5. We have Spider-Man 2 at an 8.9. Iron Man at an 8.8. Thor at an 8.3. Spider-Man at a 7.9. Spider-Man 3 at a 7.5.
Okay. Wow.
Is that
And
all the
X2 at a
Spider-Mans?
7.5. Yep, that's all the Spider-Man. And then
They're all in the top 5.
And then our first X-Men movie is X-Men 2 at 6th place with a 7.5. So just
Okay.
missing.
Just shy. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, that's
And then
that's good.
X-Men, the first one, is the other one in the top 10
Okay.
at
all
a
right.
7.3.
So the next movie is Spirit of Vengeance, right? Come on, son.
Yeah, that's
Captain
right.
America timed that
The
perfectly.
next movie
The peak
is
Avenger.
Captain America: The First Avenger.
Do you understand? Oh, shoot.
What happened?
We gotta go see stupid Quantumania before we can watch Captain America: The First Avenger.
no!
Dang it. That's the next movie in the Marvel movie marathon, though? I
Yes,
thought
it is.
Spirit of Vengeance was next.
Nope.
Spirit of Vengeance is
I could have sworn
right
that we
after
were-
First Class, or right after the First Avenger. That's cool. We go from First Class to First Avenger.
Are you kidding me, dude? Are you kidding me? Listen,
Then we have a great movie next week. Then we slog through Ghost Rider, or maybe it's good. Who knows? None of us have seen it.
Peak Rider.
And then right after that, we have one of the best movies on this marathon. We have the first Avengers. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Listen, we've got oh, the lineup is epic. The lineup. Listen, I'm just reeling. I didn't know Captain America was next. You guys know I love Captain America.
Yes.
We all do. Who doesn't like Captain America? The First Avenger is an excellent film. First Class, get that out of here. I want the First Avenger.
First Class, more like
X-Men First Class.
No, I'm messing around with you guys.
Mid class.
That's right. So stay tuned for that. Get your tickets for Quantum Mania. It's out this week. Actually, by the time this recording's out, this Quantum Mania will.
Quantum Mania episode.
Well,
might
that
even be out
depends,
already.
actually.
That's true.
That depends.
That's true.
You know, it's going to be weird. It's going to be out around the same time as this recording, but we're all going to see. We've got our IMAX tickets. We're ready to go. 9 o'clock. It's going to be a late movie showing, but we're going to be excited for it. I'm looking forward to it. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for Captain America, the First Avenger. That's going to be a great podcast. I might not even set a time limit for that one because I got a ton to say. We're not going to set a time limit for the Avengers. I know that for certain. Dude, Thor went like hour 20. So we got a lot going on here at Multiverse Monologue, so stay tuned.
Unlike X-Men.
Unlike X-Men First Class, which does not have a lot going on for it. But as for now, this is Ben Rayside.
This is Ethan Wetzloff.
This is Micah Head.
Signing off. We all hope you have an absolutely fantastic day.